Sam, I've taken the next step into weebdom. I have graduated to a whole new level of manga readership. I've started reading manga in Japanese. I know.
That's mind blowing.
I know. If the viewers
That's like
don't
a whole
know,
nother language.
if the viewers don't know, I've been studying Japanese for a few years. I mostly like in classes, like so not like a ton of self study. I've only recently started self studying, so I have a foundation of vocab and grammar knowledge. But I would say I'm still like, if I'm being most charitable to myself, like like just intermediate, like comprehension. Like I've just entered intermediate comprehension. Just kind of an input stage, right? Just trying to get more input in. And this year, one of the goals is to actually like start bridging the gap from textbook stuff and comprehensible kind of stuff made for learners, and just like actually engage with native content. And
because at that
learning,
point, right? Like, I just wanted to say, like, because when you're at the point where you're actually consuming native content, like you said, you're actually really engaging with the language in a meaningful way at that point, beyond just like structure in theory and the base understanding of how it works.
Yeah, it's a whole different level of understanding. You really realize how little you know when you graduate from textbook to native content. But and if anyone's learning Japanese, they probably watched a billion videos on how to learn Japanese, like me. That's the key, is you got to immerse in native content. And so I've always kind of been nervous about jumping in. I'm starting with the like noob, classic, trite, entry beginner Japanese baby's first manga, Yotsuba to. Like you literally, like everybody starts with this one. Like there's whole communities around, like book club, about like learning, or you're new to Japanese, reading Yotsuba. But one thing that's interesting about you and I, Sam, is like we love we love Kiyohiko Azuma, who is the manga cover Yotsuba, because he did Azumanga Daioh, which is one of our favorite manga. This is the one he did after. I have Yotsuba in English because I liked it. I liked Azumanga Daioh so much that I have both the ADV run in like the 2000s and the more recent current yen press.
Oh, hell
run.
Yeah.
And one of these days we can kick the can down the road, but I'd like to compare the translations because they are pretty different in English, especially now that I have like a better context. So I read volume 1 in Japanese of Yotsubato this past week. And for those wondering, like comprehension, how was I doing? Like one thing that's funny about Yotsuba is like it's a little kid, right? It stars, and if you don't know, it's like this, it's a very slice of life, so it's good for vocab, like it's pretty everyday. But it stars this little girl Yotsuba, who is the protagonist, main character, and so she has a lot of dialogue that are just like baby talk, and so it's actually kind of hard to like, I almost like, well, when a character speaks in a full sentence, it's like amazing, like to another adult especially, or older person, like because they're either talking to Yotsuba or Yotsuba talking. And so it's so like babyfied or little kid like lingo that it can sometimes be challenging, because all I have had is like mostly like textbook Japanese, which does not do that.
It's going to lean more on the professional.
This is very casual and very like young, like Japanese. Sometimes she even mispronounces stuff. And for somebody who is a baby themselves in this language, like you don't really always catch that. So I would say I did pretty good with this. I tried reading this in Japanese years ago, much earlier into my journey, and I remember 10 pages taking like an hour and a half, just 10 pages. Like that's like 20 speech bubbles. Like it was just like, because I'm looking at every word.
That's half the chapter, yeah.
Like it was brutal. Now, like I would say I could get through a whole chapter in like 20 minutes, which is still not that fast for people that are actually,
I mean, your average, but... I mean, yeah, if for an English manga chapter, regular text, I mean, like 8, 9, 7, 9 minutes maybe.
And am I getting all of it? No, I probably am getting like 70, 80%. The gist, Probably even less if I'm like 100% nailing it. But there's so much resources. So this is like one reason why people start with Yotsuba is there's so many resources, vocab decks for your Anki, like flashcard, um, again, reading clubs with forums where you can ask questions. Like there's two different English translations, so you can really like check, these
Yeah,
things.
because there's a lot of material specifically for
Right.
reading Yotsuba and in Japanese that you can that it any maybe faults with the book from a reading it to learn the language perspective gets like overtaken by the fact there being so
Well,
many resources.
the big thing that makes this easier too, and this is why I can read it, like why I can actually read this pretty comfortably than like let's say Azumanga Daioh, which is I want to read that too in Japanese one day because I like this guy a lot. One of my favorites, and it's good to read something in Japanese that you have read in English, maybe even a while ago, so you're not so lost. Like
You kind of know the
have a gist.
context, sort of know what they're talking about.
Right. Yotsuba has furigana, which tells you the reading of the kanji. So you don't actually need to know the reading of the kanji like straight from memory. It has the hiragana above it. That really helps comprehension for someone like me. Where Azumanga Daioh, it skews older readership. Once you get old enough, like Nintendo games have furigana usually, depending on the game. Like, but once you get to like middle school, high school, like age range, like they get rid of that pretty quickly, and so you just have to know the kanji and know the reading. And I'm okay with kanji, but I'm not that good where I could just comfortably read and get the gist and guess around without it. I probably should push myself in that arena. Again, I'm not terrible at it, but that's another reason why Yotsuba is so helpful, because the book itself has those furigana there. And so there's good reasons, but the kiddie talk almost makes it not great for beginners too, because it breaks so many rules you've learned. Like it breaks every rule. Like every character speaks so casually. Well, not everyone, but like especially our main family, the dad and Yotsuba they speak so oddly, and like it's almost like it's a running bit. Like people hear them talk and they're like, "Whoa, that's a weird family. Like they're odd." That can cause some challenges for me because I'm like, that's not how I learned this. Where's the Desmos form? Like that just throws everything out the window. I've already started volume 2 though, so I'll keep us updated. I have a lot of thoughts about this process. I don't know. Do you have any questions about somebody who? I imagine if you could snap a finger and read Japanese manga, you would, right? What are your questions on this experience here?
Yeah, I'll ask this. Do you feel like, at least in the first volume, particularly, were there any individual moments that you had slightly more appreciation for after reading the original text that maybe you didn't quite feel the same way when you read it in English?
I love Yotsuba in general, right? So I'm already coming in a big fan. I will say, like, and I think this is one me being a foreigner. Yotsuba often refers to herself in the third person, and it's something that and this is a slight from my memory, but like Yen Press really like faithfully translates that in a way that I think the ADV one kind of tones down, and it's a lot more grating in English than in Japanese for some reason.
It's I'd say that's probably one of the most I'd say for as far as from a manga reader's perspective, one of the biggest things you get immediately when you read in the original language is the honorifics that the characters use, which teach you and tell you a lot about their personality, how they view themselves, how they view other people, how they view other individuals in relation to themselves. And that you just don't get that in English because we don't really talk with honorifics in the same way.
Yeah, but Yotsuba is unique because she doesn't say boku or watashi. She says Yotsuba.
She says her name.
So,
yeah.
So there's certain jokes of formality that, because formal like relations are so like intense in Japanese culture, but also like in its language, that even though the translation you can do that with English. Oh, sir, I'm so sorry to be bothering you. Like you can have these more formal. It just doesn't hit as hard, that distance. So for instance, when the father meets Fuka, the middle sister, like she's um, so proper and so respectful in a way that you really get the dissonance between the two because he's not talking like that. I will say, to answer your question about what I like most about the Japanese experiences, there are these rare moments, these lucid moments, and this didn't happen all the time. And I imagine this is part of the journey, and it's going to be ups and downs. I hope you all can join me with this, where I'm cruising and I'm just like laughing
You're in the zone,
in reaction. And I like, you don't think about it being in a different language because you've understood. Like if I've understood, like, oh, I've understood 3 text bubbles in a row. There's so much visual information too. The book's very funny. The way that I'm like, I just naturally react and laugh audibly, like I've like it's not study time, is I think the best part about the experience. Because that's like the goal, right? Is I just want to enjoy the content. Like I don't want to like, what does this mean? I look up a word, and I try not to look up every other, every word I have. I have a vocab list provided by community members. That helps if I really don't know, that I can look at that PDF and take a look. And I have Anki cards that show me different sentences and test my comprehension of them. So like it is a study material I'm using it for, but like the moments when I'm reading a chapter and it's just funny and I can follow the joke of it, that is something I was surprised I would get this early on, because this is the first manga I've ever read in Japanese. So
yeah, and
know.
it certainly will not be the last.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Part of the reason this channel exists is so I can get through all my English manga and I can start transitioning. So this is motivating me to read more manga and then also transitioning over to more Japanese manga. I would like to do another topic maybe next week about like actually about volume 1 of Yotsuba and do like this kind of little compare and contrast with the Japanese.
Sure.
And
yeah,
I think I'll keep reading it, and then yeah, I want to do Azumanga Daioh. I mean, it'll be harder, but whatever. What's useful is I have the English. Like, if I don't know a word and there's not, a million community members, if I have this, I have
the
just
basic
consult
the original
translation.
Text, yeah.
Like that's the goal. I'm trying to read first manga I own in English and have read. I think that's it, though. I don't know where people are at in their Japanese. If anyone learning Japanese, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, let us know.
And if you read recommendations specifically, like, okay, Yotsuba was easy. This one was also easy for me and really interesting. I would love to hear that. What were you going to say, Sam?
Oh, no, that's exactly what I wanted to say. If anyone else was learning Japanese and they had suggestions for stuff for Tom to check out, other series or maybe things that are maybe half a step or a step more advanced for after you wrap up with the Yotsuba volumes you do have, let us know. Anyway, if we get more people reading Japanese manga, I think that would be pretty exciting.
That, I mean, I wanted to be a pillar of our talks now, as like my journey of immersion. I do say, and this is just my experience from the beginning outset, like if you're like a beginner of Japanese, like you just like, you know what? I watched this episode of 100% authentic manga, which is, by the way, this is 100%
authentic manga. This really is. You actually can't get more 100% authentic manga.
I don't recommend just jumping into like even this like right at the beginning. Like again, you need to know. Like,
you had 3 years worth of training arc shit happen before.
Like around
listen to this podcast.
I would say more like 2. I would say 2 years of like actual committed Japanese like study. But you're right. Like you really need to commit and get the foundation of grammar, I feel like, before you can really dive in. Now, it doesn't need to take 2 years, but I just feel like you won't have fun if you're like really frustrated by it. If you're like me, a much younger version of me, taking an hour to read 10 pages or whatever, like looking up every single word, not understanding any of the grammar structures, like get a little bit under your belt in the textbook so you can at least see the puzzle pieces. You might not be able to see the full picture, but just how they fit together, I think, will help. if you wanted to do more, yeah, I'm down to talk more Japanese learning if people want more of that too. So maybe we can convince Sam to join me on
Oh
the
yeah,
journey.
yeah, maybe. Who knows? If this video gets 10,000 likes, I'll learn Japanese.
Oh
Uh,
wow, that's so funny. 10,000 likes. That's like a huge. That's a
it's like
huge.
we don't even have 10,000 subscribers at this point.
Yeah, I would say views would be too much, but likes. Uh, anyway,
You gotta
that's
set the bar
my.
high. Gotta set the bar
Yeah,
high.
yeah. I think that's it. I enjoyed the experience so far. It didn't. It was not so hard that I don't want to immediately keep going and keep this up. So, uh, highly recommend.